Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. And today I get to hang out with my friend Matt Moog, who is the founder and CEO of CareerBird. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you, man. Some good pre-conversation prior to this, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of you, Matt. So one thing you wanted people to know about you is that you're a father of three. You've been married 31 years. You've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. So you have some staying power, it sounds like.
I'm persistent, I guess. That's one characteristic.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question. I've been married 20 years. What's the secret to getting to 31 years?
Well, it helps to marry the right person and keep the lines of communication open
Yeah.
and be in love. All those things help.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Communication is it's so important. And then I'm more on the front side of my journey as an entrepreneur. So tell me how to be a 30-year entrepreneur. How do I pull that off?
Well, I think it's more of a profession that picks you rather than you pick it. I just literally since I was a kid, I've been making lists of ideas and dreaming up businesses I could start and trying to learn about business, et cetera. And it's been fun for most of my adult life to be able to go do it.
That's so cool, man. Now, how did that manifest as a kid? So let's talk about that, right? So as a kid, you have this entrepreneurial gift, this entrepreneurial drive. It sounds like you've had it your whole life. What did it look like for, Matt Moog as a, you know, elementary school kid or whatever?
Well, I had a lot of jobs growing up, working, doing lawns, working at grocery stores, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Each one of them was interesting, and I learned something. I probably when I was in my early teens, I started reading Inc. magazine and just different business magazines like that.
Really?
And then in college, started a business that helped pay my way through college, and I was hooked and off and running.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is funny, man, because I'm thinking about myself in high school. I'm definitely not reading Inc. magazine. I, I'm definitely not starting a company that helps pay my college tuition. So tell me about that company and that journey.
Yeah, so I went to George Washington University. We got there, and the year that I started as a freshman, this is going to sound really old, I guess, but the telephone company did not distribute yellow pages to our dorm rooms,
Yeah.
which meant there was basically, this is pre-internet, there was no way to get, you know, uh, restaurant menus,
Yeah.
delivery, any of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So I created something called the College Consumer Guide, which was a printed book,
What?
uh, and ended up selling advertising in it and distributing 10,000 copies across campus, and did that for 3 years in a row. And each year it made enough money where it paid a really good chunk of my tuition.
Wow, man. I can appreciate the the drive to because I work in the apart from this, I actually work in the media space. I work with publishers for my day job, and so I have a deep appreciation for what it takes to make a print. And I've also published a book, so I have some some sense for even just the many things that have to come together for a product to exist. So where did you just have the drive that like a lot of people try stuff like that and they don't finish, right? Or it gets hard at a certain point and it gets really hard and it feels impossible and then you stop. How did you get past that?
I don't know. It just that it was I guess a lot of shoe leather. I mean,
Yeah.
literally walking around to businesses near campus and introducing myself and say I'm doing this thing, and would you be willing to buy an ad? And the guy who ran the Pearl Vision and the branch manager for Citibank and the local
Yeah.
hotel, and they
Yeah.
all did.
Wow.
And then every year after that, it worked for them, and they saw the impact of it, and they became repeat customers.
Man, that is very cool, man, on a lot of levels. I didn't even know that gold nugget was gonna come out of this river, man. That's so cool. It's surprising. Okay, so your story is the story of an entrepreneur. So we're gonna talk a little bit about your story up to Career Bird, which is where you are now. Tell us a little bit about the meandering journey.
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to make it short. So right out of college, I got a job working for Microsoft,
Mm-hmm.
which really I was just fascinating to me to see. At the time, Microsoft was like Google, where it was growing and becoming dominant in the news every day. I was there for 4.5 years. I got promoted every year. It was super interesting. There was always something new going on. I was on stage with Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer and all kinds of cool stuff,
Yeah.
but really had the entrepreneurial itch. So I actually created an electronic version of the College Consumer Guide called
What?
the Digital Concierge. Um, didn't get that one off the ground. We created the product. It was sort of an early version of like a Yelp or something like that.
Yeah.
But ended up leaving and joining one or two other people to start a new company when I was 26. And that company, I was there for 10 years. And we ended up taking it public, and I ran it as the CEO for 5 years. So when I was 31, I was CEO of a publicly traded company, which
Wow.
was a bit of trial by fire. And then we took that private, and I started the next one, which was called Viewpoints, which we later renamed Power Reviews. It was originally a ad supported consumer destination for ratings and reviews. And we then bought another company that was in the B2B software space called Power Reviews. So we scaled two different companies to about 200 or 300 people each. And along the way, also started another company called builtin.com, which is a employer branding and recruiting platform for the technology space. And was on the board there for 15 years. Was chairman for a number of years, and then spent 4 years running Chicago Public Media, which is the home of WBEZ, which is the NPR affiliate in Chicago. We also, when I was there, we acquired the Chicago Sun-Times. That was about a 300-person organization. So it's been an interest. And then a year ago, left and started CareerBird. So
Wow.
this is startup number 4, organization number 4 that I've been leading. I enjoy the early days of scraping and battling your way to a product and to a customer set, and then the scaling part where you hire hundreds of people and you get going.
Yeah. Yep. And so you're planning to do that again, or is this different?
Yeah, well, it's a little different in that this time I'm not focused on raising venture capital. So I'm taking an approach of sort of more lean approach of keep it small, keep it focused, service our clients really well, and grow profitably.
Yep.
So it's a little bit more of a sane approach that hopefully works out ultimately better for both customers, and employees.
Yeah. Very cool. Now as we look back on that story, um, you've achieved some pretty amazing things and been part of some pretty amazing things and built some pretty
Thank you.
amazing things. What is the gift? Like if we draw the thread from, publishing this guide in college that pays for your college tuition, and then where you are today, what's the thread that made you successful in all of these different roles?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I'm not sure I'm going to have a fully developed answer, but I'll
That's fine.
try.
Yeah.
I think I have a high tolerance for risk and ambiguity and change. and two, I think I'm sort of relentlessly outcome and results focused, and able to change when something's not working.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, and then sort of the definition of an entrepreneur, some people have said, is a person who begins a major effort knowing they don't have the resources to finish it,
Yeah.
and just having the faith that they can figure it out as they go.
Yeah.
So I think that fits my profile of I enjoy the being scrappy and making things happen and putting it all together and being on some days a specialist and on some days a generalist and doing strategy and product and sales and a little bit of everything until you get some traction and some momentum.
I thought that was very eloquently put, actually, and very clear. Um, would you call yourself driven?
Yes,
Okay,
I would say
you got
so.
some drive, some strong internal.
Yes.
Yeah, you laugh because that's like a crazy question, right? You told me all these things. I'm like, you're driven. Yes, yeah. So you've got some internal drive. Um, some people are, let's say, conflict averse, challenge averse. Some people are kind of mid. Some people are like, I like this. It lights me up. I actually like that. Are you? Would you put yourself there, like you like it, or are you just tolerant of it?
You're asking if I like conflict or
Let's say let's say challenge. Let's say challenge instead of conflict, right? Let's put conflict as a subset of challenge, adversity.
right. Yes, I think I'm drawn to, as sometimes they say, doing hard things,
Yeah,
of sort of tackling it and figuring it out. Maybe not in a pretty way or a conventional way, but just getting it done.
yeah,
Part of it is also having the autonomy or the agency to pick your own path and decide what you're going to focus on today and how you're going to get it done and what you're going to let slide and what you're not.
yeah, yeah, man. This is very enlightening. Now, some people come by that, like that kind of ability to thrive and to voluntarily choose adversity and even enjoy the struggle. Some people come by that more innately. It's just how they came out of the oven. And some people come by that because something happened in their life that kind of unlocked it or showed that. Which one is it for you?
Well, I think everyone is a product of their environment,
Yeah.
maybe as a positive or a negative. So I don't want to, I don't think it's just that I was sort of born this way. I was certainly, my mother wrote a cookbook. She was a real estate agent. She was a school teacher. Like she
Yeah.
did lots of things and she took the
Yeah.
initiative. My father was an inventor and an entrepreneur
Yeah.
and worked for himself most of his life.
Yeah.
So those things certainly had an influence on me.
Yeah.
But I have been entrepreneurial and business minded and interested in a way that other kids might be obsessed with sports or music. I
Yeah.
just find it's what I'm drawn to as something that's interesting, and I do view entrepreneurism in a category of its own of just starting something from nothing
Yeah.
is different than running something that already is established.
Yes. That makes sense. And that's what you like to do. You like to start
Yes,
something from nothing. Yeah.
yes. I
Yeah.
also like to scale it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I say I like all parts of the journey.
Sure. But you want to scale something that you built,
Yes,
right? If you don't want to scale somebody that somebody else built necessarily.
right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is good. So so moving on from that, and this will start to get us into the conversation about CareerBird and what CareerBird does. I want to start with who you care about and who you help. Right. So there's a certain kind of pain and suffering, pain in the world or problem that we want to solve that usually gives rise to our entrepreneurial endeavors. So what was that for you?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is who I care about and who I help is my family and my friends and people in the community, et cetera. I
Yeah.
think you mean something a little broader than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What I would say is one of the things I've always been drawn to is the idea that somebody through both hard work and ingenuity, a little bit of luck, can succeed. And particularly in America, there's mobility. There's the ability for you to uh, sort of progress in life and see new things, achieve new things, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I've always been interested in, for example, how just a society is and how it enables people to pursue opportunity and
Yeah.
improve themselves and their family. So that comes in the form of income inequality, like how do those places take shape? It comes into the idea of sort of mobility, income mobility, and professional mobility. A career bird is an expression of that. Is of this idea that when you join an organization, there should be a clear path for progression and mobility.
Yeah.
And one of the keys to unlock that is a learning and growth mindset.
Yeah.
So those two things go together. If you want to grow and succeed, you need to be willing to learn but also have people who help direct you toward that. And the one thing I'll add too is that is different to me than education.
Yeah.
Education increasingly takes on a sort of institutional view. It's expensive, it's hard to access, it takes a long time, it can be out of date sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think the beautiful thing for me about both the internet and more recently AI is it opens up unprecedented opportunities for people to learn
Yeah.
and explore, and that taps right into mobility.
Yes. Yeah. So would you then say there's education, and what you're talking about is and education with the connotations that you just said, versus like would development be the counter to education in the model that you're describing?
Yeah, well, yes, and I think there's different words that mean very similar things. So, for example, learning and growth and development are all things that you can do while you're getting an education, but there are also things that you can do after you've gotten an education, or even if you didn't get a certain level of education.
Yes.
And it's I think increasingly there's a lot of both people and organizations interested in finding ways of helping adult learners, helping non-traditional ways of learning, so that you lower the barriers to access in that way.
That makes sense. And so in some sense you're drawn to helping people who work, right? People who work and trying to set people who work up for maximum success in their career journey. Is that?
Yeah, that is, yes, that's the specific focus of CareerBird is tying your learning journey together with your career journey and
Yep.
trying and particularly among younger generations, Gen Z, millennial, et cetera, there's a strong interest in one progression and wanting to understand when do I get promoted, how do I get promoted, what is my path here, and alongside that of growth and what is this organization investing in my development and what kind of training am I getting, and the kind of training that when I was at Microsoft and other places, I got really good skills training. There's a lot of organizations though that do not invest in training. It's a week or two of onboarding. They throw you into the job and say good luck and figure it out.
Yeah.
And there's a big movement to get employers to be more skills based and really recognize the need to develop people's skills. And I think what's sort of fascinating about the moment that we live in right now is that the skills are changing so quickly.
Yes.
The average number is that I think 25% of skills in the average job is changing every year. So 4 years into a job, it is likely that the majority of the skills that you needed when you started that job are new. And
Wow.
there's some professions where it's much more dramatic. It's like 75% of the skills are changing. And I think what everyone is grappling with is what profession, occupation is AI going to have the biggest impact on? And one school of thought says it's about people doing repeat tasks that can be automated. But which I think is true, but I think I would also argue even what's traditionally been high status, high paying jobs, doctors, lawyers, architect, engineers, AI is phenomenally good at performing a number of those important tasks
Yeah.
and diagnosing illnesses and reading X-rays and interpreting health records and looking at contracts. I mean, we've all experienced this usually in our personal life. So what a doctor does today is likely to look dramatically different than what they'll do in 5 years from now.
Man, that's crazy. And so now this goes back to part of your origin story was that you said part of the thread that made you good at your different positions and able to accomplish the success that you've accomplished had to do with your familiarity with change, like your ability to embrace change. So this change world, that's 25% of your job could be different next year, and it could be 100% different in 4 years. You're comfortable with a reality like that, a world in which that is true, right? Yeah,
Yes. I think I lean into that kind of change and challenge, and others resist it or fear it, which
yeah,
is totally understandable.
yeah.
And particularly when it affects your economic security or other things. So I think that's up to leaders to figure out how to bring people along so that they don't end up without the skills necessary to
Yeah.
compete.
Right. And that's so and so you're taking some of that, some of your DNA and putting it into this system and this structure and this platform that then equips other people who maybe don't have your same, rah rah feeling about change. But then helping them to get the benefits of a positive attitude towards learning and growth and change.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. And there's a path forward. And I love how you even earmarked that, the younger generations really have some different priorities where like some of the older generations, we were like, no, we're just going to go on this job and we're going to build that widget forever. Whatever it is we learned how to build. It was hard to learn how to do it. We figured out how to do it. Now we know how to do it. We have job security. Nothing's going to change until I retire.
Right.
And
Well, and if I can add to that, so that those attitudes are changing. Where we work from is obviously changing, but the other part of this too is the difference between a job and work. Work, job is a position you occupy. Work is what you actually do.
yeah,
And I think part of what is happening slowly, and people are sort of waking up to it, is that companies and managers and executives need to do a better job of defining the work that needs to be done
yeah,
and not just hiring a person with a title and a role and say, you figure it out, because because the skills and the work required are changing so quickly. And the other fascinating development is the percentage of the U.S. workforce that has some other job gig than their full-time job,
yeah,
and the nature of work becoming more fractional,
yep,
and not everything is obviously in the office. Not everything is 9 to 5. Not everything is you as a employee. And if we can rally around that idea that work is both more flexible, but requires more intention to it, then I think that will help people adjust to a different environment.
So, how do you feel about the fact that the world is getting more fractional? Because I see that too. It's very evident to me in my own life and the lives of people that I know. So, I only have that to work with, kind of what I hear. But I do see that the world is moving more towards people not wanting to just occupy one job and just do that forever. Both economic necessity and I think more of the entrepreneurial spirit. It's causing people to do some more things. How do you feel about that? That change in culture?
Personally, I feel great about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It plays to both my strengths as well as I guess a larger faith that people who lean into their own development and take control of their own future will have opportunities that are separated from their traditional
Mm-hmm.
employer-employee relationship. So I think businesses will increasingly use fractional resources. They
Yep.
can pay for expertise
Yep.
in different ways, and I think there's many situations where the people doing the job will come out ahead from that, and so will the business. You may not always need somebody in your office 40 hours a week, 200 days a year kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, I think that doesn't mean that there are people who are not fearful of that or don't need some help adjusting to that, or they may be willing to trade off things that are more stable and predictable. And I think that's also we need to find ways to accommodate that and help those people.
All right. So, I'm going back to what you said. The job role is becoming less important than the work that needs to be done. I love that delineation you made between the job and the work, right? So a company needs to understand the work that it needs done.
Yes.
Um, right. And that's part of it sounds like some of what CareerBird is a clarity tool that cuts both ways, right? It's a clarity tool for the company to understand its work that needs to be done. And it's a clarity tool for the employee to know how they need to grow to best serve the work or to best complete the work that needs to be done. Is that fair? Add some color to that so that we can
Yeah,
get.
no, I think it's a good way to frame it. And the way we've thought about this is every job has a set of responsibilities, and almost everything starts there. Now, of course, from year to year, those responsibilities change,
Yes.
and employers don't always update your responsibilities, but usually that's what's in the job posting that you responded to. The responsibilities are also related to a set of outcomes, like success metrics. How do we measure
Yep.
success in
Yep.
this relationship? Uh, and then the second piece of it is somewhat the input is, and what skills do you need to successfully fulfill the responsibilities? And not there's technical skills and there's softer skills, what some people call competencies, and there's also leadership qualities. And I think thinking in terms of like a system almost as a person, as an employee, of thinking, okay, this is what this is what I am responsible for. This is the outcome and this gets back to my personal focus on outcome and results and having the agency to change how you get things done or when you get them done, but knowing what success looks like. And then the skill side of it is really that is probably the more intrinsically satisfying thing of like the craft of what I do. I've gotten better at whether it's public speaking or writing or data analytics or relationship building or whatever those skills and competencies are. think that's where people ultimately, they know, there might be circumstances where they were not able to achieve the success, but if they've been able to give it everything they had and grow themselves and become better, I think it was who was it? There was a tennis player recently who basically talked about the percentage of tennis serves that they got right and what the difference between being world class and just being really good was. And I think that it's a similar journey here of if you have the clarity, which you mentioned, and the visibility into your responsibilities and how you measure success, you can keep working at the craft of getting better at what you do.
Yes. Yes. And I imagine there's AI that's baked into the tool set to help with some of this stuff.
Yeah. So that's I will say when we're talking about learning and we're talking about growth and we're talking about the future, the last 9 months for me as an entrepreneur have been really eye-opening.
Yeah.
We have built CareerBird on top of AI and with AI tools,
Yeah.
and it is akin to you have been given a key to unlock human knowledge, and now you need to figure out like what questions you have for it and how you engage with it, how you draw things out of it,
Yeah.
how you create a system that is usable and meets needs of your customers. And then it gets back to the learning for me. I've been at this for more than 30 years. I probably am learning at a faster rate now than I ever have in my career.
Wow.
And part of it is AI is new, like almost every day, and certainly every week. I
Yeah.
mean, ChatGPT 5 last week was a big development,
Yeah.
you just okay, we got to adjust and change and
Yeah.
see how this helps us, etc. So
Yep.
sorry, that's a long answer to your question of are we building on AI?
It's a great answer.
We are careerbird.ai, so we are very committed to having AI be a central part of our platform.
Man, that's amazing. And so what is the experience then of somebody who adopts CareerBird? Can you let us in behind the curtain a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. And so it starts with, and this gets back to our conversation, it starts with a clearly defined role, responsibilities, skills, success outcomes, competencies, and a system for the manager and HR to agree on that so that you have a lot of consistency and buy-in. Starts there. Once you have that, and that our system facilitates that, and makes it much easier than it's ever been across thousands of roles. But the second step is, do the employees feel comfortable and proficient with those skills? And
Yeah.
that's something that most companies don't have visibility into.
Yes.
Is they'll say we need our employees to be able to do X, Y, and Z. We have no qualitative way of judging whether or not they're
Hmm.
able to. So
Hmm.
we've developed a skill proficiency survey that asks both the employee and the manager what their level of proficiency is with those skills. Once they do that, the third step that we provide is a learning dashboard that says to them, here are the skills on your job description. Here's your level of proficiency. Now here we've looked across the entire internet at courses, at podcasts, at articles, and we've found resources that are exactly laser focused on what you're looking to learn about.
Yeah.
And you might be somebody who learns in 12-week courses, but you might also be somebody who learns from listening to a podcast or reading an article.
Yeah.
And we can line all that up for you. And then the last piece of it is a career path explorer. Okay, now I understand what my skills are. I've got a learning plan. What are my
Yeah.
opportunities going forward?
I see. Because it's hard to get people bought in to learning and growth unless they see a path forward to a better future,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And if you think about what most learning and development is at organizations, it's usually based on things like compliance, so sexual harassment or security or these other kind of things. And it is sometimes there's broad like competency, soft skill, like how to communicate and have hard conversations. And you almost never get a technical skill training, and that's really the opportunity is to unlock that for people to grow in their career.
This is very interesting. I'm going to draw a parallel here, and I'm going to see if it fits. I interviewed a CEO, a good friend of mine. His name is Kenny Katzgrau, and he does this extremely well just as a leader in his organization. So he's got a small enough company where he can do this, where he can say, okay, it matters to me where you want to go. Where do you want to go? Not just in my company, but in life. Where do you want to go? And he's authentically postured that he's going to try to make that happen. That's just who Kenny is. If he knows your dream, he's going to help you make it happen. And so those conversations often bring that clarity that you're describing in this small kind of work environment. People trust him, so they're willing to share what those dreams are. And then he does actually tactically and tangibly try to help. I can imagine that being some of the heart behind the Career Bird platform. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're automating some of that. I mean, not all of that could be automated. A good leader is Career Bird can't make a bad leader not suck as a leader. Right.
Well, let me give you an example, and I'll use that analogy of where do you want to go. If I said to you, Johnny, where do you want to go on vacation? You have to envision, you have to know of every possible destination and all the considerations. If I say to you, Johnny, do you want to get to the West Coast? Here are 5 different paths that you could take.
Yeah.
And here's a map for each one and what you need to know to get there.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of what we're trying to do is build some of that bridge and provide them with a map.
Narrow the scope, right? Looks like you're heading this direction, right? Like, I mean, you're obviously, if you're in this role, you're obviously kind of on a track innately. How far do you want to go on this track?
Or, and there's certainly people who almost everybody during their career decides I want to do something different. Like I'm going to go from this to this.
Yeah.
At least knowing, but then the exploration begins like, how? Like, how do I do that? And where do I even start? This kind of platform can help you do that.
Yeah, this is fascinating. And then as far as the company profile, the type of company that is going to tend to get the most success out of Career Bird, who is that?
So we've targeted what people refer to as the mid-market. So it's companies with over 100 employees and up to thousands of employees. We're not going after like super large global companies with hundreds of thousands of people. And we're not, we think the solution is not as good of a fit for a much smaller, company. So that's really where we're most focused. When a year and a half ago, when I was running an organization with 300 people, and I wanted us to do better in this area, I started calling around to anybody who might have a product here. And some of the companies that are out there, they literally wouldn't take a call with me.
Yeah.
And they just said, "I'm sorry, you're too small.
Yeah.
We only work with companies that have like a minimum of 5 or 10,000 employees."
Got it.
And in the U.S., there's hundreds of thousands of businesses that are in that range. There's like 15 million businesses that are under 100 people. So and that's it. It gets back to the gig work and the entrepreneurism and that kind of thing. Is there's a real opportunity to build tools for people to have the same level of capabilities that large global companies have in a much more affordable, accessible way.
So then let's make the bridge here. As we're coming to a close, how does what you do with CareerBird translate to what I call employee delight? So the movement that this interview is even a part of is employee delight, which is moving past employee satisfaction into this idea of employee delight, right? Like
Yeah.
they just they love working at their job. They're thriving, they're happy, they're effective. How does what you're doing translate into employee delight?
No, it's a good question. And that one fact that I hope sticks in everyone's mind is that the lack of career development is the number one reason people cite for leaving an organization.
Okay.
And what I've seen quite a bit, and I think is common, is employees will say, I like my coworkers, I appreciate the mission of the company, but I don't know where I'm going here.
Yep.
And it'll show up in employee surveys where when you ask the question of do you see yourself here in 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
and 70% of people say no,
Yeah.
that's because of a lack of visibility into what that path looks like.
Yeah.
So that's the delight side of this is, it's like if you went to college, let's just say, and you had no idea how you were going to graduate,
Yeah.
you might be a little bit less motivated to really get it done. It's the same with work. You need to have a path.
Yeah.
And I think that if you come to work every day knowing that you're building towards something, and it's not just the progression through the org chart, but it is you are building your skills for you as a person, and you might go off on your own. You might go into a slightly different profession, but at the end of the day, you are becoming better at what you enjoy doing. I think
Yes.
that's a really meaningful thing.
That's huge. And so what you're giving, the gift that you're giving to the world is clarity of career path. It sounds
Yes,
like, if I can
yes,
distill it
and
down to that.
yes, I think that is very well said. And just what there's an author named Daniel Pink. He's out there quite a bit. He's got a book called Motivation, and what he talks about, and I remember this from years and years ago, is that two of the factors that impact people's satisfaction at work, one is mastery and one is autonomy.
Yeah.
Right? So think
Yeah.
about how that
Yes.
translates to this situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Mastery and autonomy. Wow. Those are very different. They sound the same, but they're very different, right? Mastery is like, I know what I'm doing and I'm good at what I do. I'm excellent. That's when I asked my dad. My dad works at the post office, and does he love his job? No. But I asked him, how good are you at driving that forklift? And my dad, he doesn't brag. He's humble. He looks me in my eyes and he's like, I'm the best, son. That's what he said. So I just have the picture of my dad like popping wheelies on a forklift in the postal annex. But like that's mastery. And then autonomy is really you trust me enough to let me do my job, right? Like I have the freedom to do what I know I need to be doing without being micromanaged, you know? And that's a reason that I hear people leaving jobs or hating their job is that lack of autonomy, man. So
Right.
it resonates with me also.
Yeah.
Mastery can lead to autonomy in the right realm.
Yes, and autonomy can lead to mastery.
Yeah.
And I think both of them are intrinsic motivators, meaning like it gives you personal satisfaction
Yes.
as opposed to looking for validation from somebody else.
Yes. I'm responsible. That thing's not happening on my watch. It's my watch. That's autonomy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is so good, man. I love the gift that you're giving to the world. I love starting with the person and then moving through the organization because the organization has so much of your DNA in it. And so it causes me to trust a company more and trust a mission more when I see that it's the heartbeat inside of a person, right? And it's clearly that way with CareerBird. I can see that with you. So
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that.
yeah. So thank you for joining us today, Matt. It's been good to be with you.
All right, thank you. Take care.
And then everybody who's been with us up to this point, thank you for sticking with us to the end. If your ears are tickling a little bit, then Matt might be a good person for you to know. And so there will be some contact information in the article and when the episode releases, or you can reach out to me and I can be a filter to make the connect. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.